Hello, I'm sure you would have understood what we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about nothing. Okay, nothing doesn't mean we are not going to talk about anything. It just means we are going to talk about nothing, and we are going to talk about the Nothing Phone 2 and the Nothing Year 2. The two new devices from Nothing, which is one of the new brands out there, but certainly one of the most innovative brands out there because it has actually ventured out to rethink the Android phone. And it's been pretty successful with rethinking the Android phone because this is the Nothing One, which came out over a year back and has been quite well accepted across the world. It's a pretty stylish phone. But what makes the Nothing phones different is this entire concept of a transparent design. And you will see that this is the Nothing 1 and this is the Nothing 2, but there is really nothing much to differentiate the two. So, is that why this phone is called Nothing? No, that's not why this phone is called Nothing. Okay, I'm going to end the puns right now. Let's get to the point. So, this is the Nothing 1 and this is the Nothing 2. Between these two phones, nothing has not really changed a lot. So, what has changed between these two phones? So, if you see the design, this is a very flat back, but this has a slightly curved edge in the back, and that is what they're calling pillow glass. Okay, that's one. And the elements, like, it almost looks like the motherboard of a computer, right? This back panel, which has which gives you a view of what is inside the phone. The elements there have changed a bit. It's become tighter, and it's a little bit better. It's more compact. Now, what else has changed? So with the Nothing Phone 2, Nothing has also launched its second version of the operating system. And with that, they have this thing, the monochrome launcher, which is, I think, is very unique. And it goes with the overall design philosophy of this phone, which has a lot of these dotted, people are old enough will remember the dot matrix printers, and they use those kind of fonts and stuff, as you can see with the numbers. But so their entire design is monochrome. Now, don't think this is the only launcher option you have. You can go to a easier to understand and a little bit more traditional kind of a launcher too. But I just wanted to show you the new launcher. This is the new launcher, which is all monochrome. It is very stylish, goes with Nothing's design philosophy. For me, the problem is I'm so used to looking at the screen and seeing the green and immediately recognizing it as the WhatsApp icon, and or seeing the blue and recognizing it as the Facebook icon. I can't do that anymore. So it's a little bit confusing. It takes a little bit getting used to, right? For instance, this is the Play Store app, this is the Gmail app, and when I tell you this, I'm sure you're not able to differentiate the two apps immediately as you would do on any other Android phone. So that'll get take some getting used to, but otherwise it is quite interesting. And then you can create these widgets. Again, very similar to what you would do on the iPhone or the Android. The widgets have been rethought here, so you don't get all the widgets, because you get only the widgets that fit into the style. For instance, like this, for instance, it is not usual to see a widget like this on an Android phone. This is actually the weather widget. So you're seeing a cloud. It's not loading right now, but yeah, this is the cloud. So see, it's a very reimagined Android experience. So what else is there in the phone? There are two 50 megapixel cameras. One is a regular camera and the other is an ultra wide. Pretty good. In fact, I was quite impressed by the portrait photography on this one. And like it's a very sharp camera, and you really like it. The front camera is decent, but in low light, I was not that impressed. What else is there? It's powered by the new Snapdragon processor, so it's quite powerful. You can do everything, so you don't really have to worry about whether this phone can handle anything. So it works very well. So nothing to be worried about in that sense. The phone costs about 45,000 rupees, 44,999 for the entry version, and you can go up to about 55,000 depending on what configuration you want to take. So that's it for the Nothing. In fact, I don't mind recommending this phone. It's a second version of the phone, so it's got better than the first version. And Nothing has not added a lot of new features just for the heck of it, right? If they think that this is a good enough phone, and as a concept, this is a concept that still hasn't got it's not that popular. This is not a Samsung or a OnePlus, right? So a lot of people still have to experience this phone. So what is the point of changing the second version of the phone so dramatically when the first version itself has not been seen by a lot of people? So I think that concept works here because it is better for them to have more and more people use the concept and then understand what are the things that they would like to be changed. So in that sense, the Nothing 2 is a pretty decent phone. If you're looking out for a budget, I would say, can't really say budget, a cheaper flagship kind of a device, then this is something you should look out for. And because of the glyph interface, right, which is the most differentiating part of this phone. So if you didn't get it from the start, I'll just show it to you again. This is the glyph interface. The glyph interface uses these LED panels at the back, right? So you can set this for ringtones, for notifications, even when your phone is charging, or if you just adjust your volume, you can see that this comes here. Let's say you order something on Swiggy and it's coming, it's about to reach, you will see that this progress bar is changing accordingly depending on how near or far the delivery person is. So it's an interesting thing, and you can customize it. So you can set a different set of glyphs for one contact and another set for another contact. So it's an interesting thing. But what this does is that this makes you really stand out. So if you're a college student, or if you're that kind of person who goes to a party, in a nightclub, you get a call and everybody is going to look at you. So that could be one main reason a lot of people want to buy this phone, and that could be one reason a lot of people don't want to buy this phone, because you're going to really stand out, right? Like, if I want to make a very bad joke, like, you will not get hit by a car if you're holding this phone with the glyph thing on, right? Everybody's going to notice and hit the brakes on you. So do we have any questions about the phone?
Couple of questions on Instagram. Our users are asking if it is overpriced or not, because at 45,000, is it really worth it?
So let's look at it this way. This phone has mostly top-end features, right? So its screen is really top-notch. It has the top-end Snapdragon processor. It has 250 megapixel cameras. I really don't think you need three lenses on a camera on a phone. So I don't think it's a really overpriced phone. It is an expensive phone for sure. I don't think for the features it has, it is overpriced, right? And again, you have to understand that this is also a unique phone. So a lot of premium is for the fact that this is not a run-of-the-mill Android phone with the same features everybody is getting. Just this makes this phone, just the glyph interface makes this phone very different. The UI again is very different. There is a premiumness to the phones. Right? If you look at the phone like this, you would not be surprised if I told you it's an iPhone, right? This has the exact side profile of an iPhone. So there are advantages of getting this phone because it's a very premium phone. If you look at the premium features, I don't think this phone is overpriced. But it is an expensive phone. And it's a very different thing to say a phone is expensive and to say it is overpriced.
What about battery life?
Battery life is pretty good. So this has a 4750 mAh. I think I'm not very sure. I'm very bad with numbers. But this phone, for me, it's on 5G right now. I'm not using it as my primary phone, but if I charge this phone and use it on and off to take pictures and maybe to watch YouTube videos, and I used this as a hotspot because I was in a conference for 2-3 days. It easily lasted me about 1.5 days with that battery, which I think is pretty good. If you use if you use this as your primary phone, you will be able to if you leave your home at 8 a.m. you will be back home at midnight and still have some charge left on 5G.
How does it compare with, say, Google Pixel and Samsung phones? Couple of people are asking that.
Yeah, so Google Pixel has a much superior camera, right? But the pricing is maybe more or less in the same range. With a Samsung phone, I'm not sure exactly what Samsung phone, because Samsung has phones across all price points, right? So if you're looking at a flagship Samsung phone, I wouldn't really compare it to a mid-level, let's say an A series kind of a phone. I think, from a feature set perspective, this phone is not bad. It has some extra features. Then Samsung also gives you the advantage of being part of a larger ecosystem. You get a lot of apps and stuff which other phones don't have. Now, since we're done with the phone, let me also show you the Nothing Year 2. Again, between the year 1 and the year 2, I'm not carrying the year 1 with me. So you see that these two like sort of look like brother and sister, right? Like this is the design language is again very similar. You can see the see-through effect of the design. You can see into the box here also. That transparency is something that Nothing takes very seriously. The design hasn't really changed a lot between the year 1 and the year 2. I like the audio profile. It sounds very good. What I really like about the device is how well it interacts with the Nothing one. Let's try if I can show you. So you can see this is the icon. This is the widget I've added for the phone. On the phone of the year. So as soon as you open the box, it immediately tells you the year 2 is here, right? The year 2 is ready to connect. It tells you what's the percentage of the battery, all of that. So it works very well, seamlessly. In fact, with the thing, you can check out what's there. You can, yeah. So also one thing that they've added this time is they have an advanced equalizer, right? So you have a regular, very simple equalizer where you change into the presets. But you also have an advanced equalizer. If you're the kind of person who knows how to use it, you can fine tune your audio profile to be exactly what you want. And that you really don't. So this is a earphone that's priced about 9,000 rupees. You really don't get that feature, the advanced equalizer, and that kind of an audio tuning ability in most of the earphones which are priced under 10,000. And usually you'd find it with a Sony or with a Sennheiser, those kind of high-end devices. Again, this little earphone out there is trying to get into the audiophile kind of a space with the kind of fine tuning it can give you. For instance, it even lets you fine tune the Q factor. Again, not something everybody can make out the differentiation when you are actually tuning the Q factor. But for those who do understand the difference, it makes a huge difference. So in that sense, it is a pretty good. It's a pretty good earphone. Very good audio. Noise cancelling, active noise cancelling works very well. And I really like using this. It stays in your ears even if you're going for a jog. It is pretty stylish. You can use it in your office also. So in that sense, it's pretty good. I couldn't find a lot of negatives with this thing. There are a lot of good earphones out there in this price point. This is maybe one of the most stylish ones. And again, if you're using if you're buying a new Nothing 2 earphone 2, then it might make sense for you to pick up the year 2 also.
Does it also have noise isolation feature besides noise cancellation?
No, it has only noise cancellation.
And how would it compare to say premium such as AirPods versus OnePlus Buds and other such buds?
I would say this is maybe a little bit better than the OnePlus Buds. It is nowhere near the AirPods or the Sony or even the Sennheiser Momentum, because they are very high-end audiophile kind of products. This is pretty good for that price point. That's how I would put it. Sony also has one in the 10,000 range, which actually sounds much better. So here the combination of the noise cancelling along with the advanced equalizer makes it a pretty good overall product.
Okay, Mr. Rajan, you've told us what you liked about the phone and about the earphones. What about what you don't like about either of them?
Okay, very good question. So what I don't like, again, I don't expect people who have this phone, which is with the phone 1, to look at the phone 2. But if you are somebody who's looking to upgrade, there is no reason for you to upgrade this time, right? Because it's pretty much the same phone except for the update in the processor and the change in the UI, which most probably get on this one also. So from that sense, it's not really something that you really need to upgrade for. And again, I told you why I think that's a good thing, that Nothing is not really changing the phone for the heck of it. One thing I really don't like is that this pillow case, though it's very good to hold and whatever. Now this is a wooden table, but if you put it on a fabric table surface like a sofa or something, where it's on a fabric and your phone rings, the phone starts moving, right? And if your sofa, like as you see, has this gap between cushions, so after some time the phone will disappear because it's moved and fallen into the gap. So these kind of small things are there. So from a design perspective, I think you will have to maybe put a cover on it if you have that kind of, if you end up using it in those kind of environments. Other than that, again, I told you, while this is very stylish, for an old person like me, it's not very practical. I'm so used to, because I've been using Android devices since the first Android device, which is maybe 2007. Like, for those of you who don't know, the first Android device I used was on a laptop. The first Android device I had was a laptop with Android loaded on it. It was not initially on a smartphone. But I'm so used to seeing these logos, identifying that visual identity of logos. I just can't make out looking at this. Like, can you make out this YouTube logo at one site? Because you're so used to seeing that red with the YouTube logo, with the YouTube logo, that you don't get that experience here. So this, while it's very good, will again take a lot of time getting used to. So these two I think are the big red flags for me. So that was the Nothing Phone 2 with the glyph interface, which is now better. There's the Nothing Phone 1. This is, I would say, if you're looking for 40 to 50,000 kind of Android phone, take a look at the Nothing Phone 2 too, because this phone is certainly the most unique out there in this price segment. So till next week, goodbye. We'll be back again.